everyone. We're back with Ken Dombrowski, executive life coach and master hypnotist, and we're going to talk more about narcissism. We want to talk about it in terms of friendships. How do you identify and deal with a narcissistic friend?
Well, when it comes to narcissism, it's just this huge topic that just keeps on going forever and ever. Seems to have no end and is constantly evolving, and that makes it more challenging. So when you have a friend who's a narcissist, the problem that you have is identifying, because every relationship has its ebbs and flows, its ups and downs, its gives, it takes, whatever, cliche you want to use. And so you're going to have a friendship that you get along well, you have fun, you do things together, you enjoy time together, and you have similar interests and things like that. But then you notice from time to time, this didn't make me feel good after I had an interaction with this person. I felt like, kind of crappy after, and I don't know why. Then you start kind of picking it apart and analyzing it a little bit, which there's analyzing and then there's like overanalyzing. It's okay to do what we call like a post-mortem of a situation. You look at it after the fact and kind of dissect it a little bit. And you can start identifying, well, okay, I can just give somebody a pass because they were maybe in a bad mood, had a bad day, maybe they were tired or hungry or whatever, had too much to drink. There's a whole lot of things. However, we want to constantly look for, when we're identifying, the repeat patterns that keep on coming at you. So if you have a friend who's constantly, seems to constantly be coming at you with different problems, different accusations, different things that are just make you feel bad after that interaction, and it just makes you wondering what happened. Well, those are really great clues on how to identify that there's something amiss here, something wrong. So here again, we don't want to be super cynical of everybody, that we're just going to throw up those red flags that you hear about all over social media and such and just start cutting people out of your life. You're going to live a very lonely life if that's the case, because everybody needs a little give and take. However, repeat behavior, then you can talk to someone about it. Say, hey, I don't like the way you talk. When you talk to me like this or treat me like this, I don't like it. Depending on their response. If they say, oh, I'm so sorry, well, then chances are it was just part of their personality and they just didn't realize they were upsetting you. But if they become defensive and, maybe try, well, you always say this to me. Well, okay, I'm just trying to have a conversation, and now suddenly they're becoming super defensive and then become on the offensive and start attacking. Well, these are really good clues. So then how do you deal with this? So now you've got some identity. You're starting to identify this person is very likely a narcissist in my life. Well, and what do we do about it? Well, that's the whole thing that becomes really challenging, because every situation is different. You have to do your own balancing act in your head. You have to balance out your relationship with that person, the pluses and the minuses. Is it worth it? Do we have a good enough relationship, a good enough connection or fun or whatever it is that we're doing together, interests and whatnot, versus how crappy they might make me feel sometimes. That's the balancing act that every one of us has to play in each and every one of these relationships. And if you start getting aware, it becomes pretty simple. It's not as simple as like a pros and cons list, because one pro can be massive and another one can be really small. One con can be huge and another one can be tiny. So you can't just quantify it that way. It has to go with how good or how bad does this person make me feel as a whole. So you might be able to put up with them being a narcissist because there's a benefit upside to it for you. Maybe not. So you have to start feeling for yourself, what is the value of this relationship, as well as what is the value of my own health and well-being, my mental, emotional state. And if it's starting to bleed over, every time I see this friend, I end up going home and having an argument with my wife or my husband. Or every time I see this friend, I go home and I just feel sad for the next few days or angry for the next few days, things like that. So we want to be able to identify, and then we have to then determine what we're going to do about it, if anything at all. Sometimes I'd say probably the most often, the easiest thing to do is just put a little bit of space between you and that person. Don't spend so much time with them. Back off a little bit. And just to kind of give yourself a little more breathing room between those doses of narcissism you get from them. And you might have a healthier relationship that's going to last longer. But Unfortunately, if that person is a true narcissist, which they're all about one thing and one thing only, which is control, they're going to notice that you're pushing away and they're going to try harder to get back into your life. And they could do it from a whole bunch of ways. We call it the love bombing. Like if you're in a romantic relationship, they're going to, they're going to really go in and out of their way. Like a man might send his woman flowers once a week and call her a lot and take her out and send her notes and texts and stuff like that. It's a love bombing situation. The same thing can happen amongst two friends. Not necessarily the same, but they're just going to want to be more part of your life. They're going to, oh, hey, look, I got tickets for your favorite, concert coming up. Things like that. They're going to try to get their way back into your life so they can abuse you more with their control. So everybody has to make these decisions on their own as to what is it worth and what's it doing for me, or is it a detriment, or is it healthy?
Thank you so much for that insight, Ken. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe.